Am I the bad one for calling the police right away when my sister and her family broke into my new house using a stolen spare key? Can you imagine working your entire life, making every sacrifice, only to discover your own family sees you as nothing more than a resource to be exploited, a backup plan for their favorite child? I thought I knew what being overlooked felt like, but nothing prepared me for the day my own sister tried to move into my new house because my mom handed her the keys. Okay, so picture this. For as long as I can remember, I've been living in the shadow of my older sister, Anna. She's 3 years older, and she was always the golden child. The smart one, the charming one, the one who could talk her way out of anything. Me? I was the irresponsible one, which, in our family, basically meant I did all the grunt work and got zero credit. Anna's birthdays? Think bouncy castles, pony rides, huge garden parties. Mine? A pizza party in the dining room, with a cake from the grocery store. Anna got the Barbie dream house for Christmas. I got a cheap knockoff with a missing elevator. My parents would just shrug and say, "You don't need all that fancy stuff," or "Be grateful for what you have." Funny how Anna was never told to be grateful for her dream house. The real gut punch came when I went to college. I'd worked my butt off in high school, juggling AP classes and extracurriculars, keeping my GPA sky high. I got into a local university, and my plan was solid. I'd commute from home, save on dorm fees. My parents had funded everything for Anna's dream school, so I figured, hey, they'd help me out too, right? Wrong. So, incredibly wrong. When I even mentioned living at home, my mom looked at me like I'd just suggested we move to Mars. "If you're staying here," she said, so casually it made my blood run cold, "you'll need to contribute." Anna got a full ride from us because she deserved it. You need to learn responsibility. I was 18, about to start college, and they were already talking about me paying rent. Contribute turned out to be $400 a month for rent and electricity, plus my own groceries. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but imagine you're a broke college student, working part-time at a bookstore for $9 an hour. I tried to explain, tried to remind them about Anna, about how she never had to worry about money at school. Mom just shrugged. "We gave Anna what she needed," she said. "You're different. You're independent. You'll figure it out." And you know what? I did. I worked every single hour I could at that bookstore, sometimes skipping meals just to make ends meet. Every morning, I'd walk past the campus coffee shop, watching other students buy lattes and pastries, while I ate my brown bag PB&J and drank free coffee from the break room. I never bought a new textbook. Everything was used or borrowed from the library. Every single month, I handed over that $400. All while Anna was off at her out-of-state school, living in a brand new dorm my parents had paid for. She called me once, just to complain that her dorm's AC wasn't chilly enough. I nearly lost it. My car didn't even have AC because I couldn't afford to fix it. My parents kept sending Anna money every month. I once overheard Mom on the phone, saying, "We don't want her to struggle. College is difficult enough." I stood in the kitchen, clutching my dollar ramen noodles, wondering why none of that compassion was ever shown to me. To top it all off, my parents were constantly praising Anna's accomplishments. She got a 3.2 GPA in communications, and they threw her a lavish graduation party, catered buffet, DJ, the works. Me? I graduated with a 3.9 in computer science. We had a quiet dinner at home. Mom made lasagna and said, "Well, we don't want to make a fuss." Looking back, honestly, what stung the most wasn't the lack of money. It was the crushing message that I just didn't matter as much. Anna was always the star, the one with potential. I was just there. Even when I succeeded, it was brushed aside. "Kate's smart. She doesn't need help," they'd say. It felt like being capable was a curse. After college, I moved out as fast as humanly possible. Got a tiny apartment near my first job, started living life on my own terms. It wasn't easy, but man, it felt incredible to be free of their expectations. I worked hard, lived frugally, and started saving every penny. Meanwhile, Anna married Josh. My parents adore him, even though he's constantly bouncing between jobs. They have 3 kids now, Sophia, Lucas, and baby Noah. My folks are always bailing them out. Car broke down. Parents bought them a new one. Anna complained about how hard it was with 3 kids. Mom and Dad offered to babysit every weekend. It still bothers me, you know? No matter how much I do on my own, it feels like I'll always be second to Anna. That's why I don't share much about my life with my family anymore. I know they wouldn't care, not really. So, I've been keeping this quiet, but recently, I decided it was time to start looking for a home. I'd been renting this shoebox apartment for years, paying way too much. I'd been saving for what felt like forever, and I finally hit that point where I thought, you know what? I deserve this. Here's the kicker. I didn't tell my family. Not because it was some huge secret, but because nothing with them can ever just be about me. Everything becomes a group project. If I'd mentioned anything, I knew they'd immediately turn it into something about Anna and her kids, and how whatever I earned would somehow benefit them. So, I figured it was easier to keep my mouth shut until everything was done. Apparently, that was way too hopeful. I'm not sure how this happened, but a woman I work with, Lisa, somehow let it slip. Lisa is one of those people who's always interested in what everyone's doing, and I guess she casually mentioned to someone that I was looking for a house. That someone just happened to be Anna's neighbor. From there, the news spread like wildfire. The joys of small-town Texas. A few days later, my mother called. "Kate," she said, her tone sickeningly joyful. "Why didn't you tell us you're looking for a house?" I should have known better, but I tried to play dumb. "Oh, I'm just browsing around. Nothing serious right now." "Well," she chirped, ignoring me completely. "Anna and I have been talking, and we have some great ideas for you." I could feel the dread creeping into my stomach. "You're going to need something big enough for everyone, you know? At least 4 bedrooms, for the kids, of course." "What kids?" I wanted to scream. "I don't have kids." She kept going, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. "You'll need space for Anna's family when they visit, and for us too. Oh, and it'd be great if it was close to Anna's place." I'm not sure why I was even surprised. She had already taken my potential house and turned it into the solution for their problems. I mumbled something non-committal and hung up the phone as fast as I could, thinking it was a one-time thing. Oh dear, it was not. My mom and Anna started flooding me with house listings after that. I'm not exaggerating. It turned into a part-time job for them. Every single day, I get at least a dozen links to the most ludicrous houses. Huge places with 4 or 5 bedrooms, pools, 3-car garages, the works. It was like they thought I was looking for a reality TV mansion. One day, Mom texted, "Did you see that one on Maple Street? It's a huge one, just perfect." Another time, Anna emailed me a link to a 6-bedroom property with a note that read, "This would be so suitable for us. We'd finally have space to spread out." I just stared at that message for a good minute, wondering how my property purchase had become a collaborative endeavor for them. What's the worst part? They weren't even pretending it was about me. Every place they recommended was oriented toward Anna's family. This one has a finished basement. Josh could turn it into his man cave. The kids would love the pool in this one. Look, Kate, there's even a guest room for Mom and Dad when they visit. It was exhausting. At first, I tried to gently redirect them, assuring them I was just looking for something modest for myself. But that just made things worse. That's when I decided to just stop responding. I silenced the group chat, ignored their messages. I figured they'd eventually get the hint and move on. Meanwhile, I kept searching for houses on my own. Spent my evenings scrolling Zillow, my weekends at open houses. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, and I actively avoided anything even remotely close to Anna's area. Didn't want to run into anyone who might tell my mother. After weeks of looking, I finally found it. A little 2-bedroom cottage just outside the city. It had everything I wanted. A nice porch, a sunny kitchen, a yard big enough for a garden. It wasn't fancy, but it felt like home the moment I stepped through the door. I knew it was mine. I submitted an offer, and after a few nerve-wracking days, it was approved. I can't even explain how incredible that felt. For the first time in my life, I was doing something solely for myself, with no input, no strings from anyone else. Of course, I didn't tell my family. I decided to let them keep delivering their helpful suggestions while I silently moved forward. But then my mother called me out of nowhere. "We're having dinner next weekend. You're coming, right?" I nearly said no, but then I had a thought. You know what? Let's just get this over with. So, I'm going to this dinner, and I already know what it'll be like. They'll probably have a full PowerPoint presentation prepared. Here comes the fun part. I'm about to reveal that I've already bought a home. I won't sugarcoat it either. I can already hear the theatrical gasps and complaints. Thanks for sticking around. I'll send you an update after dinner. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who left comments and advice on my last post. I promised an update after dinner, so here we go. Buckle up, because it was a lot. I arrived at my folks' place last Saturday, precisely at 6 p.m., mentally prepared for whatever garbage they were about to throw at me. The moment I walked in, it was pure chaos. The kids were screaming, Josh was glued to the couch watching TV, and my mother was bustling around the kitchen. She glanced over and said, "Oh, good. You're on time for once." Off to a great start, right? We sat down for supper, and the conversation started with the usual small talk. Dad complained about gas prices, Josh about something at work, and Anna, of course, about how difficult it was to manage 3 children. "Noah keeps waking up in the middle of the night," she sighed, scooping mashed potatoes onto her plate. "We're just so cramped. I feel like I'm losing my mind." I knew exactly where this was going, but I played along, nodding sympathetically while focusing on my lasagna. Then, my mother cleared her throat, that specific way she does before making an announcement. "Kate," she said, a huge, triumphant smile plastered on her face. "We've been talking, and we think we found the perfect house for you." I nearly choked on my water. Of course, they came with a plan. "Oh," I asked, keeping my tone as neutral as humanly possible. "Yes." Anna chimed in, her eyes sparkling. "It's a beautiful place, and it's only a few blocks from us. It has 5 bedrooms, a huge yard for the kids, and even a guest suite." Mom interrupted before I could even respond. "It's perfect for everyone. There's enough space for the kids to finally have their own rooms, and Josh could even set up an office. Plus, it's in such a great neighborhood, close to good schools." I just stared at them, bewildered. They weren't even pretending it was about me anymore. "So," Anna said, smiling as if everything was settled, "we can go see it tomorrow if you want." That's when I decided I'd had it. "Actually," I responded, setting down my fork with a clatter, "I've already bought a house." The room went completely silent. Even the children stopped making noise. "What?" Mom asked, her voice suddenly harsh. "I bought a house," I reiterated, my voice calm but firm. "It's a small, 2-bedroom cottage just outside the city. It's perfect for me." For a little moment, I actually considered if they might be happy for me. Then Mom's face turned bright red, and Anna's mouth practically dropped to the floor. "A cottage?" Anna finally sputtered, her tone full of skepticism. "How are we supposed to fit in a cottage?" "You're not," I told her bluntly. "Because it's my house. I bought it for me." Mom stepped in before Anna could react. "Kate, how could you make such a big decision without consulting us? We've been working so hard to find the perfect place for you." "No," I replied, trying to keep my cool. "You've been working hard to find the perfect place for Anna and her family. I didn't need your help. I knew what I wanted, and I bought it." Anna's voice became quite high-pitched, almost a whine, as if she were about to cry. "But we need this, Kate. Do you know how hard it is for us in that tiny apartment? The kids have to share a room, and Noah's crib is in our bedroom. It's not fair to them." I took a deep breath, fighting to keep my temper. "That's not my problem, Anna. I've worked hard to get to this point, and I'm not giving up my dream house to fix your situation." That's when Dad decided to join in. He slammed his hand on the table. "You're being selfish, Kate. Family is supposed to help each other. What's wrong with you?" I stood up, my heart pounding. "I'm not selfish. I'm finally standing up for myself. And if that makes me the bad guy in your eyes, so be it." The place erupted into turmoil. Anna was crying. Mom was ranting about how she had raised me better. Dad was complaining about how disappointed he was. Josh just sat there, stuffing food into his mouth, like nothing was happening. I grabbed my handbag and walked to the door. Mom chased me, practically screaming, "You can't just walk away from your family like this." I turned back, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "Watch me." Then I got into my car and drove home, shaking with a mix of rage and an overwhelming sense of relief. Things have gotten out of hand in ways I truly didn't expect. My mother and Anna have gone on a full social media attack. Anna shared pictures of her kids packed tight on their bunk beds with remarks like, "All they want is a little space to grow, but I guess some people think family isn't worth helping anymore." People who didn't know the full story left comments like, "How could anyone be so heartless?" To make matters worse, someone, probably Lisa, saw these posts, and now half of my office is talking about how I abandoned my family. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude and focus on my work, but it's getting harder. I'm bracing myself for whatever comes next, but I'm confident I made the right decision. This house is mine, and I will not back down. I'll provide an update if something significant occurs. Thank you so much for all of your help. You have no idea how much it has meant. I've been going over your comments, and wow, you guys didn't hold back. Many of you expressed surprise at how entitled my family sounds. And believe me, I share your sentiments. Others shared their experiences with similar situations, and it's genuinely reassuring to know I'm not alone in this. So, things have taken an utterly wild turn. My mother unexpectedly showed up at my apartment yesterday. She was standing there with an apple pie, not my favorite, I prefer cherry, and the fakest smile I'd ever seen. "Hi, Kate. I thought I'd stop by and see how you're doing," she said, as if she hadn't been part of a social media mob attacking me for weeks. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She placed the pie on the counter and then just gazed around my home, like she was taking inventory. "I wanted to apologize," she began, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Things got a little heated, and I realize now that we were wrong to push you like that. You've worked hard for this house, and I should have respected your decisions." Something about her tone just didn't sit right with me. Then she launched into this lengthy speech about how pleased she was of me, and how the stress of Anna's situation had caused everyone to behave badly. "But that's no excuse," she added, giving me a sad, almost imploring expression. "I was thinking maybe we could have a fresh start. I'd love to come over again sometime. Maybe bring Anna and the kids. It'd be nice for everyone to see your new place." So there it was, the actual motive behind her visit. After she left, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Later that night, it finally clicked. She'd spent an unusual amount of time inspecting my locks and asking about my moving timeline. My suspicions were confirmed when I returned home from work today and discovered my spare key was missing, the one I had mistakenly left on the kitchen counter during my mother's visit. Just as I was processing this, my phone vibrated. My next-door neighbor had sent me a text. "Hey, I noticed some folks trying to peep into your windows last night. It looked like a couple with children. Is everything okay?" I immediately called a locksmith to replace all the locks. I'm also installing security cameras first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe they would stoop this low, but honestly, I'm also not surprised. I've stopped answering phone calls and texts from anyone in my family. Mom's apology was clearly just a reconnaissance operation, and I'm done giving them the benefit of the doubt. The disturbing thing is, I don't think they'll stop. Dad left a voicemail stating, "This isn't over, Kate. Family has to stick together, whether you like it or not." At this point, it sounds more like a threat than a concern. I'm currently documenting everything, every text, every voicemail, every suspicious incident. My gut tells me I'll need this record very shortly. I will keep you updated if anything else happens. Thank you all for your support. It's incredibly helpful to have people confirm that I'm not insane for demanding fundamental boundaries. Hello, everyone. I never imagined I'd be posting this update, but here we are. What happened today has left me absolutely disturbed, and I am still trying to digest everything. I went out this morning to run some basic errands, grocery shopping, picking up a package from the post office. When I arrived home around noon, I saw something peculiar. Anna's SUV was parked directly in front of my house. My heart sank immediately. I approached the door, fumbling with my keys, and then I heard voices within. Anna, Josh, and the kids. They were in my place. The atmosphere inside was complete mayhem. Sophia and Lucas were sprawled on my couch, surrounded by munchies and toys. Noah was toddling around my living room, munching on a throw cushion. Josh was in the kitchen, looting my refrigerator. And Anna? Anna was in the sunroom, rearranging my furniture as if she were on HGTV. What the hell's going on? I managed to say, my voice shaking from fury and disbelief. Anna looked up, completely unfazed. "Oh, hey, Kate. We figured it'd be easier to just move in while you were out." I just stared at her, trying to comprehend what she had just said. "Move in. Mom gave us the key," she explained, nodding to the kitchen counter. "We truly needed the space, and your home is ideal for us. It could have been bigger if you'd listened to us, but we'll make it happen. Josh can now have an office instead of bickering." Instead of arguing, I took out my phone and dialed 911. "Seriously?" Anna retorted, her voice full of incredulity. "Are you calling the cops on your own family?" "Watch me," I said. When the cops arrived, Anna and Josh tried to argue that because we were family, this wasn't a true break-in. The officers wouldn't have it. They informed them that they were trespassing and needed to leave immediately. Anna began crying, saying she didn't realize it was such a big deal, and Josh muttered something about me being selfish as they packed away their belongings, including the goodies they had plundered from my cupboard. After they left, one of the officers approached me and asked if I wanted to file charges. I considered it for a time before deciding against it, as long as they stayed away from my property. The officer nodded, saying they'd file a report if anything more happened. I've already called a locksmith to change the locks again, and I'll have a full security system put in tomorrow. I've also hired a lawyer to create an official cease and desist letter to deliver to my parents, Anna and Josh. The letter describes everything they've done and states that if they continue to harass me, I will not hesitate to take legal action. I still can't believe my own sister thought this was appropriate. And my mother gave them the key. I don't even have words for it. I will keep you updated if anything else happens, but perhaps this is the final straw. I am done giving them opportunities. Blood is not always thicker than water, particularly when it's dangerous. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who has followed this wild journey. After all of your comments and support, I believe I owe you a final report on this issue. Yes, I mean final, because I have formally severed all relations with my family. First came the guilt-inducing phone calls. Every single relative, including those I hadn't spoken to in years, began phoning me. My aunt, who hardly recognized my existence growing up, left a voicemail that read, "How can you do this to your sister? Family has to stick together." Then my parents launched a full-blown smear campaign in our town. Mom shared photos of my house on Facebook. I'm not sure how she even obtained them, with sentiments like, "It's so sad when someone forgets where they came from. Family sacrifices so much for you, and this is how they repay you." People who didn't know the full story left comments accusing me of being ungrateful and selfish. Last week, Anna took it to a new, horrifying level. She arrived at my business at lunchtime with all 3 children. I was in a meeting when our receptionist called to report that my sister was crying in the lobby and raising a disturbance. By the time I arrived, half of my coworkers had gathered to witness Anna theatrically tell how I was leaving her children homeless. I drew her aside and ordered her to leave. She responded by letting the kids run around the office while yelling about how I had plenty of space but was too selfish to share. Security had to escort them out, literally. That was it. That was the absolute breaking point. I looked at Anna, seeing not my sister, but a stranger who had weaponized my private life, my home, my workplace, and even her own children against me. In that moment, standing there in my office, surrounded by staring coworkers, I finally understood. There was no going back. There was no fixing this. There was no family to stick together with. I walked back to my desk, my head held high, and the next day, I had my lawyer send out those cease and desist letters. This time, with no hesitation about pursuing legal action if they crossed another boundary. I changed my phone number, blocked them all on social media, and made it crystal clear to my coworkers and friends that anyone who chose to believe Anna's lies was choosing her over me. It's been hard. There's a profound sadness in severing ties with your entire family. But there's also an overwhelming sense of peace. For the first time in my life, I am truly living my life, in my house, on my terms. And I wouldn't trade that freedom for anything, not even the approval of a family who never truly saw me anyway. This journey has taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from those who dim your light. And finally, choose yourself.